Welcome everyone, and welcome to another Freebie Friday. I'm Rob C. Hinds. Now today I want to go over something which I went over briefly quite a few weeks ago in Freebie Friday, but I'm just going to go into slightly a bit more detail and slightly with a little bit of a spin, because this one is going to be about your vision. Now everybody needs to have a vision, but this is not something that we learn at school. We didn't have a class at school. We had maths, we had English, we had French, but we didn't have a class called vision, and unfortunately we didn't have a class called decision making. But your vision is what you want to be doing in the future. What do you see as your big picture goal? Your vision may be something 10, 20 years down the line, but what is it that's your driving force behind what it is that you're doing? Now, a lot of people usually don't think about their vision because it is so far ahead in the future. But if you can think of a vision as your target, if you were going to be doing any type of shooting practice, or maybe if you're playing basketball, you're always going to be aiming at a target. If you didn't have a target, you wouldn't know where to aim. You wouldn't know where to fire the arrow. You wouldn't know where to shoot the basketball. So you've got to have a target. Now, whether this is a 5-year plan, whether it's a 10-year plan, whether it's a 20-year plan, you've got to have a vision. Now, once you create a vision for yourself, you're going to start to realize that a vision is broken down into goals. So if you start achieving the goals, then you're going to start to achieve your vision. Now, a lot of people are going to have very dissimilar goals. No one's going to have two goals which are the same. But what you will find is that people do have similar visions. So you can team up with someone who's got different goals to you, but who has ultimately the same vision. Now, it's going to be down to you. You can have a fantastic vision, but if people do not know what your vision is, then that's just going to stay in your head. And as you start to go along any personal development route, you're going to realize that you can't do it on your own. You're going to need to engage other people. And for you to be able to successfully engage other people who have got separate goals, but you want to engage them into what it is that you're doing, you've got to be able to sell your vision. Now, it's not sell like what a salesman would do, but you're going to have to paint a really beautiful picture of what your vision is. So spend time and start to think about what is it that you want to achieve over the long term, over the next 10 years, over the next 20 years. Don't think that anything is too big for you, because if you start to look through other people whose visions, other people who have completed their visions, people who have left a legacy, start to look at the things which they have done. Everybody started in the same place. We're all made of blood and bone and flesh. We all breathe oxygen. So we've all got 6 higher faculties. Nobody's got 2 brains. We've all got the same faculties that everybody else has. So you've got the potentiality to be able to do anything that you can envisage. And if you can envisage it and you can believe that you can do it, then most certainly you can achieve it. Now, sometimes you may know what your vision is. Now, what usually can happen, this does happen quite often, is that as you're developing yourself, becoming the person that you need to become to be able to effectuate that vision, your vision then might slightly start to take on a different shape. Now, you've just now got to decide whether you want to hold on to that original vision, or are you going to let that vision grow and expand with you? I know some people really hold on to their vision, although they're changing, they're evolving, but they really still try to hold on to that old vision, and then sometimes they can get a little bit of resistance coming. And if they continue to resist against that resistance, you start to feel that something isn't right. So really do start to look at your vision, because your vision will evolve as you evolve. You're going to grow. You're going to be listening to different audios. You'll be reading different books. You'll be having different experiences. You'll be talking to other people. And as you're growing as a person, as you're developing different characteristics around you, then naturally you may start looking at your vision, which was so steadfast, you may start looking at that slightly differently. Now, don't be so rigid with your vision that you're going to be constricting yourself and you're going to be constricting your growth. Otherwise, you're just going to be like a mushroom growing inside a vessel, or a pumpkin growing inside a vessel. You're not going to be able to outgrow that. So you really do start to look at what your vision is, but do take into consideration that you are an evolving being. You are changing all the time because you are continually progressing. And as you do that, you're going to be looking at your vision slightly differently. So your vision might take on a different aspect. It may grow, it may get bigger with you, or you may start to focus in more, and there may be one part of your vision that you really want to explode and make that the most dominating part of it. So don't be scared if you do see that your vision is changing. There's so many people, they may start doing one vehicle to be able to get them to where their vision is, and then realize that they're not driving the right vehicle. And I don't mean that as a material vehicle, but they're not using the right source to be able to get them there. Now you've got to leave yourself open enough, because you're not going to know the exact route that it's going to take for you to get there. So sometimes you may need to switch vehicles, you may need to change lanes, but don't hold yourself, don't be so restrictive, and don't let yourself to not change that vehicle, or not allow yourself to change that lane. So really it's about becoming more intuitive with yourself as well. And the more intuitive you can then start to see the telltale signs of where you're being guided to go. So do create that vision for yourself. That's super important. But then don't make that vision so restricted that once your vision starts to grow and it starts to mold and it starts to morph, that you're not going to grow and morph maybe and start to look at that with new eyes. Okay. Well, do take a look at the other Freebie Friday that I did on vision, because that was breaking. A lot of people aren't quite sure how to come up with their vision. They don't know, because it's something they've done before. There could be a lot of anxiety around it. So the other Freebie Friday was looking at breaking that vision down into 9 separate areas. Combine that with this Freebie Friday, what you've just seen, and that's going to really start to help you to then tie it into that vision, and that will help you to get you where you need to get to. Well, have a fantastic weekend, everyone. And I shall see you on next week's Freebie Friday. So until then, keep reading, keep studying, and above all, keep growing. I'm Rob C. Hinds.